Hi, welcome to this video. My name is Runepanel, you can call me Rune, and today we're talking about Disco Elysium one more time.
Calling. Behold, you have no idea who this thing is. Calling.
Hello, I'm Kim Kitsuragi, Lieutenant, Precinct 57.
Calling. I'm gone. Calling still.
Tell me, do you remember the love of your life?
Calling. Calling.
So, the body is still in the tree where it has been hanging for 7 days straight.
Your breathing is heavy. The saddest sound in the world. The sea wind blows, calling, 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 calling still. Then the ocean breaks.
It's you, isn't it? Harry. Because it's me. Harry. Harry.
Are you fucking insane?
Harry.
The road to healing is going to be a long one. Stay the course. You will make it someday. Just remember that you've made it this far. And it's just a bit farther now. Let's finish this. I'm on your side.
Alright, that was pretty sick, right? Yes, sir. Either way. I have already made a video on Disco Elysium because I struggled starting to play the actual game since I have ADHD. Now, I already went through all this. If you're interested in that, I will be linking the video in the description, or you can find it in my channel. I mean, you all know how YouTube works. I'm not gonna give you a tutorial. If you want to see the video, there's ways you can find it. Alright, I don't want to say something before we continue. The comments in that video, they were amazing. I appreciate all the comments, and they just spoke to me and they were nice. So thank you. I really like people just, trying to be nice and helpful. It's really nice to see. Again, I appreciate that. Thank you for everyone commenting on that video. But let's move on. So, how come I managed to finish the game after I struggled talking about it and I had to make a video because I struggled playing the game? Well, this is how it went down. On paper, I like story games. And I liked what Disco Elysium was offering me, right? The whole voice acting, the narrative, the graphics, it was all appealing to me. I just didn't really enjoy the running around and getting a little confused at the start with my surroundings. Sometimes all the dialogues in the game weren't all that interesting, and it made me feel like it was going sluggishly and I was getting bored, and I just didn't want to keep playing. But I wanted to like the game, so I pushed myself to play it. And I played about an hour for 2 days. Each day 1 hour, right? And then suddenly, I played more. And I got hooked on the story. And I don't know what happened, but I didn't stop playing for a while. Actually, until I beat the game. This was also when my internet was down, so I didn't have any internet. And Disco Elysium is an offline game, offline games. So, it was a good choice to play then. And during that internet-less time, I finished it. But even if I didn't have internet, I got hooked on the game. And I probably would have finished it and binged it with internet. So with all that said, let's actually start talking about the game. I'll run you through how the gameplay works real fast. After all, it is pretty simple. The gameplay is give or take a point and click adventure. The whole story unfolds through narration that is all voice acted, so you don't have to really do any reading. Now, voice acting is a choice, so if you want to, you can toggle it off in the settings, so you can just have text. Now, I highly recommend against this because part of the game experience is the voice acting. It is really good. Don't do it unless you really like reading, or if you're deaf. I guess if you're deaf, if you're deaf, you wouldn't be watching this. Whatever. Uh, as I said, you point and you click. That's the gameplay. You point and click, and that makes your character interact with things, different things. Now, you can interact with items. Interacting with items can lead up to 3 different scenarios, let's call them. You can get some flavor text and nothing happens. You can maybe pick up some loot. So you interact with a trash container. Oh, there's money in there. Oh, there's a pair of shoes in there, or whatever. Or you get a dialogue box where you can further investigate the item. And then you have this whole inner narration going on and whatever. Then there are NPCs, right? Interacting with most of the NPCs will yield you a dialogue, and more than likely, a conversation with the NPC. Now, some NPCs and things can't all be instantly interacted with. Some are story based and some are stat based, so they're docked until you can actually interact with them. With that said, let's segue into talking about these stats that I just mentioned and what they are. You see, when you start the game, you start by picking a quote-unquote class. You can also customize this however you wish, really. And it's a whole point system if you want to do it, and you gotta choose whichever 4 categories you want to put your points in, or split them evenly, or whatever. You do you, really. But it's up to you. You can make your own if you so want to. These stats, they determine a lot of things in the game. For one, they can give you new thoughts or things you notice when you walk around the world. Other times, during dialogue, you will have a specific stat reaction. Now, say empathy. You're talking to someone, there's an empathy skill check. This will roll a hidden skill check with your empathy stat. If you pass it, you get a voice line of a past skill check and it says something empathetic in that regard. Or if you fail, you can get a different one. Or rather, you will get a different one. So your stats kinda shape the way the story is told to you. Usually this results in pretty unique playthroughs. So usually each person, unless they have very similar stats, will have a bit of a different outcome or experience. But how do you increase these stats? Well, stats are increased throughout the game by leveling up or changing clothes. Yes, clothes in the game don't do much except being aesthetic, and they provide different benefits or perhaps negatives to different stats. And that's it. Leveling happens passively, but clothing, you can alter them manually, all your stats. For example, there's a shirt that might give you +1 in hand-to-eye coordination, but -1 charisma. Something like that. And sometimes it's good to change clothes before conversations if you think that you're going to need a specific stat. Or you can just roll, with whatever you want to. You can just have whatever swag you wish to have on you, and that's you, You can do whatever. And lastly, for gameplay, we got these things called thoughts. Yes, thoughts, like we have in our mind. Thoughts, I'm thinking of something, a thought. Those sort of thoughts. When you have a certain conversation, or interaction, or thoughts, like real thoughts, you can acquire these things called thoughts. Okay, this sounds really confusing, but bear with me. You see, there is a whole thought menu, and you can see all the thoughts that you can unlock. It doesn't tell you how to unlock them, but once you have it unlocked, you can focus on it and enhance it, so to say. Focusing on it takes in-game time. So some take longer, some take shorter. And once you've finished internalizing your thought, you will get some sort of permanent bonus. But beware, not all thoughts only give positive bonuses. Some thoughts come with negative side effects. or bonuses that you might not want to actually keep for your playstyle. And if this is the case, that you're not happy with the thought you acquired, you can use a skill point and you can remove an already learned thought and open up this thought slot. But also be careful again, because once you've removed the thought, you cannot reacquire it. You're donezo. Alright, so be careful with what you really want to pick. Okay, I don't think I kept that description of the gameplay simple, but I'm pretty satisfied with it. So let's move on to the actual talking about the story. It's the kind of main part of the game, the story. So, as I said, I finished the game, but I won't go into crazy details about the story, as to not spoil you any further than what the edit already has. I'll give you a rundown though. You play as a detective cop. You wake up and you've lost borderline all your memories. Soon after the game starts, you get to know that you are a detective cop. The game tells you, actually very fast. And that there is a murder mystery taking place where you are. And you don't really know where you are, but there's a murder mystery. You go down, you're in this hotel, right? So you go down the hotel and you find your new partner. And he's the partner for your murder mystery and for the rest of the game. So you're stuck with this guy, basically. And he is the GOAT. Name Kim Kitsuragi. And together, you solve this murder case. Simple, right? Throughout the story, you get to discover the character you're playing as. Your name, because you've forgotten that. Your lifestyle, which you shape yourself. And the issues your character comes with. All this while trying to solve an actual murder. While you're at it, you're also gonna see other people's problems. Side quests, so to say. And if you want, you can help them out. Or not. Some are bad, some are good, you know? You can do whatever you want. The game opens up pretty much immediately, and you're left to your own devices. Shape the story your own way. Go wherever you please, really. In whatever order you want to. And, you know, take the thoughts that we talked about that you want to have and take the actions that you want. You know, actions and thoughts do shape how the story is going to play, how your character is going to react and what they can say. So because of some specific thoughts, you can unlock new dialogue options. And that makes the game more interesting and even somewhat replayable. And for being a story-driven narrative, the game really feels more like an open-world moral compass game, right? Where you write the story for the person you are controlling. Even though it's the same person every time, it feels like you can really shape the story. And let me tell you something. The narrative, it's a sad one. I don't think that there's a way to tiptoe around the sadness, so to say. The game will tell you a story, as what I would put it, about a broken man. And where his ideals sometimes get bigger than him, or that his emotions get ahead of him, or that sadness engulfs him, or that the addictions win, right? You have no choice in really how it's going to be portrayed, but you can affect it, and you can guide it, so to say. And the story in this game, at first glance, isn't all that deep, maybe. The first is a black screen and you just get a bunch of gibberish and it just spits random nonsense at you and it maybe feels a bit quirky, right? Then you play a bit, maybe you get to the ending, whatever, right? And you think about it a bit. And you realize how almost every piece of inner or outer dialogue has some sort of deeper meaning to your character. And it kind of unfolds the longer you play the game. Now, I'm not a professional psychology degree master, whatever, right? I'm not a physicist, physicist, that's not the right thing. I'm not a say therapist, right? Whatever. I'm nothing of the sort. But it's clear that the protagonist suffers from one or two mental issues depending on how you actually play the game. And some endings are nicer than others, of course. But I did look through some of them and they kind of gave me a gut-wrenching sadness when you get to know the character and then you see how things can end for them. It's a bit rough. And it's good. That's what makes really good storytelling. You feeling some sort of empathy towards the main character you're playing as. That's really good narrative. And the whole story is just intriguing. It's not a video game protagonist, no memory, blank, that's it, no one knows you. You're actually a character with some sort of amnesia, right? With some sort of self-defense mechanism of losing your memories, which makes you think, why did all this happen? What happened to this character? Where did it go wrong? And what can you do now? Is it now a blank slate, or are you the same wreck as you were before? It's these kind of questions that I thought of when I played the game, and it was very intriguing to me the more I played it. And you find some wild shit in this game too, right? It's a little fantasy, alright? It's not like super realism, it's a tiny bit of fantasy. It gets really interesting, alright? But that's a bit enough of the story. Let's talk about the community. The community for the game, it's an old game, right? It's like 5-6 years old. It's a pretty old game, but the community has made some great amount of, fan art, edits, and other things that really portray the mental state of the protagonist in a cold yet beautiful way. Getting poetic here, but it's true. While I was editing my video, I looked at some videos and art. It was really cool. It just gives me chills, honestly. And I'm very happy I sat down to begin with to chew through this game. Because man, I really love the experience. And I love this aftermath feeling of finishing the game. It was maybe a week ago or two since I did finish it. But it's still nice. It's like a nice memory ingrained in my head. And I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Well, with all that being said, I will wholeheartedly recommend this game to you, wherever you are. But the game, it isn't for everyone still. It is a simple narrative, and it's a narrative-driven game with a lot of point and clicking. You gotta kinda have the patience, or you gotta get interested enough in the story, then you'll get the patience, If it isn't your cup of tea, or if you just hate point and click, well then maybe just steer clear of this game. The game can also have some pretty dark moments, so if maybe you're a bit sensitive, maybe steer clear until you're in a better space. I don't know, just saying. But I'll say, at least for me, initially it wasn't the case, the whole point and clicking. I was blinded by that gameplay mechanic, and I didn't really see what was the actual key part of the game. Not the gameplay, the narrative, obviously. And, well, when I realized, I was extremely happy. Now, the game is a bit on the pricier end right now. It is currently 40 euros without a sale. So if there's a sale going on, get it on a sale. Otherwise, I think 40 euros is a tiny bit steep. Yet, I think it's still worth it. So if you can dish out 40 euros, go ahead. Your money, your choice. So, let's wrap up this video and chat about the game in the comments. So what are your thoughts on Disco Elysium? Did the game speak to you in some sort of deep way? Are you gonna try the game? Have you already done it? Then what's your favorite moment in the game? Because there's a lot of good moments. And hey, did you guys like the edit? This is my first time actually editing a video this way. So let me know if you liked it or not. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, my name is Rune, and if you did enjoy it, do consider leaving a like and subscribing. I really do enjoy making content for YouTube, and seeing others like my work, it always cheers me up. But that's all for me. Look forward to some actually funky videos coming soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.